country right
Is Mike Nieder, I know you are.
Right.
Is Mike Bloomberg a Democrat?
He is.
When did that happen? When did it happen?
Well, it first happened when he was 18.
Yeah.
Mike has been a Democrat for almost all of his life. He then switched to Republican to run for mayor in New York, and then immediately became an independent. And then, of course...
was he a Democrat at the time he was mayor of New York? Was he really a Democrat all those years and just pretended to be a Republican?
I think he's had Democratic values. He supported Democratic issues. The politics and the vagaries of New York politics are a little different for me, but that was his pathway to winning and then doing great things as the mayor of New York City. As, the former mayor of New York said, there generally is no Democrat or Republican way of sweeping the street.
Why did he endorse George W. for president, George W. Bush?
I've never talked to him about that, to be honest with you. I know he has supported some other Republicans who were particularly focused on issues that he cares about.
Scott Brown.
Senator from Pennsylvania. That was about guns. That was about guns. So Mike has, made some of those efforts. But one of the reasons that Democrats were able to take over the House is because of his support for 24 House members,
gave a lot of
21 of whom won.
He gave a lot of money to Pat Toomey, the Republican candidate for re-election to the Senate in Pennsylvania, and I think it was because
he was pushing the guns issue.
They were together on that. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for joining us. As I mentioned earlier, Bernie Sanders, who suffered a heart attack last year, was asked at a town hall yesterday if he'd release additional medical records, which he'd originally said he'd do by the end of 2019. Here goes.
We received, released two rather detailed letters from cardiologists, and we received, released a letter that came from the head of the U.S. Congress medical group, the physicians there. So I think we have released a detailed report, and I'm comfortable with what we have done.
Just to be clear, you don't plan to release any more records?
I don't. I don't think we will, no.
Well, this morning, Sanders' National Press Secretary Brianna Gray falsely said that Bloomberg had also had heart attacks, plural heart attacks. Here goes.
He had a heart attack in the fall. Do you think the American people deserve to know more about his health going forward?
It's really telling, given that none of the same concern is being demonstrated for Michael Bloomberg, who's the same age as Bernie Sanders, who has suffered heart attacks in the past.
Well, after facing criticism for saying that, since Bloomberg has not suffered any heart attacks, Ms. Gray clarified, saying, quote, I misspoke when I said Bloomberg had a heart attack. Rather, he underwent the same stent procedure as Bernie. I'm not sure what that says, except it's technically true, but there's a suggestion they had the same heart condition. Here's how Bloomberg's campaign manager, however, responded in an interview with my colleague, Andrea Mitchell.
Bernie Sanders his national spokesman went on CNN this morning and said that Mike Bloomberg had a heart attack. That's a lie. In fact, Bernie Sanders had a heart attack in Las Vegas mere months ago. So they're going to employ the sort of techniques that the Trump campaign has used to try to spread lies and innuendo that certainly aren't true.
I'm joined now by Nina Turner. She's been on many times before, the national co-chair of the Sanders campaign for president. I didn't expect to do a general hospital discussion here tonight, but I do think it's going to come up. I think it really will come up tonight. What is this question about? Sanders had a heart attack in October, right? And what are the records he isn't showing? What is this issue about? He says, I'm not going to release any more records. What is that? What is he holding back?
He's released.
No, what is he holding back?
Not holding
That's
back.
The interesting stuff.
He is not holding back anything. He has released.
He said he wouldn't release any more records.
He's released 3 letters. They contain his records. His cardiologist has been very clear that his heart is above average for somebody that is his age. There's no such thing as a centralized place for medical records. He has released the same amount of information that every other candidate has released.
The clipboard at the end of a bed for a patient does not have a letter on it. It has medical information, data, facts, the health of your heart, percentage of it that is recovered, what's been permanently damaged by a heart attack, all that stuff. He hasn't released that.
Chris, his cardiologist said
he wrote him a letter
that he is fine. Listen, what people know about Senator Bernie Sanders is that they can trust him and they believe in him. If Senator Sanders could not do this, he would not be doing this. And I dare any 20-year-old or even 50-year-old to get on the road with him.
I'll tell you, I know one thing about politics.
You can't get on the road.
If it's better than it looks, they show you.
Well, no, he has released everything that needs to be released.
Well, President Trump has attacked Michael Bloomberg multiple times this week, tweeting, the crooked DNC is working overtime to take the Democrat, notice how they say that, the Democrat nomination away from Bernie again, and that he is spreading money all over the place. That's Bloomberg. Isn't that called a payoff? Your thoughts? Is the president right?
Well, my grandmother used to say a wrong clock is right twice a day. President Trump needs to stay on the Republican side and let us handle
Are there being
the Democratic
payoffs
side. Listen, you and I had this conversation before. I mean, anytime somebody skips the early states, the oligarchs, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, yeah, you did say oligarchs.
I did say that.
Well, you can't get much tougher than that.
He's buying the election, just flat out. What Senator Sanders is doing, Chris, is building a real grassroots movement, having conversations with people. What Mayor Bloomberg is doing is just spreading.
You mean buying using money to get votes?
He is.
Is that what you're saying? Are you saying using money to get votes?
$350 million worth of ads, his own money.
Okay, just to get your definition. Is buying an election using money to get votes?
He is using.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, Chris, and I'm not going down that road. What I am saying is that he's not building a movement. He's not talking to the people. He's just throwing his money out there. But that's not going to work.
Okay. If I'm in college right now and I had student loans, they got me through college. If somebody came along and said, I'm going to pay off all your student loans and what else? And if you're going to a public university, I'm paying all your tuition. Is that buying votes?
We are implementing a policy in this country that says that just in the same way we have K through 12 education that's publicly funded, in the 21st century, we need a paradigm shift. Pre-K to college. That is what we need. Chris, people don't have disposable income. They're walking across the stage with a degree in one hand and debt in the other.
Okay, let's talk about the relationship. This has become sort of a jealousy competition. Who's closest to Barack Obama? Maybe your candidate's a little different. I think he is a little different. The Atlantic magazine is reporting, quote, Bernie Sanders got so close to running a primary challenge to President Barack Obama in 2012 that Senator Harry Reid had to intervene to stop him. Quote, Sanders didn't end up running against Obama, but the relationship didn't improve in the years that followed. To Obama, Sanders is a lot of what's wrong with Democrats. Unrelenting, unrealistic, so deep in his own fight that he doesn't see how many people disagree with him or that he's turning off people who should be his allies. To Sanders, it's Obama who represents a lot of what's wrong with Democrats, overly compromising, and so obsessed with what isn't possible that he's lost all sense of what is. Is that a fair estimate of the relationship?
Senator Sanders and President Obama have had conversations over the course of this run. I don't know why we're relitigating pulling
it's the last election. It's 1 million years ago.
But President Obama ran his race, and Senator Bernard Sanders is running his race.
I get the wrong questions. You don't like my questions.
No. President Obama called Senator Sanders fearless. That's what he said about him.
Did he think of running against him in the primary last time?
No.
In 12. He did.
See him
the Atlantic article's wrong.
Saying that Senator Sanders thought about running against him?
Against Obama in the primary. No, is that
Senator
a no, or
Sanders
just to shake your
was
head?
running.
No? Is that
I've never heard this. This is news.
Well, it's a big story. Maybe we jumped you with a news story, but you're great. Please come back.
Thank you.
Next time we'll talk about this primary fight that never happened.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Senator. Senator Nina Turner.